So about a week ago, I got a text from my close friend from middle school breaking the news to me that one of our old classmates and friends had passed. He was one of those guys that you naturally fell out of touch with. We ended up going to different high schools and colleges in different states, and we lived on different sides of town as well. It sucked though because I never stopped thinking about the guy and always hoped that we would cross paths again one day. He was a really good friend to me in middle school. He was much, much taller than me, and he would just defend me in scenarios where I didn't know that I needed it. No matter what, it's always better to give love even if it's not received. It's better to give love than to not love at all. The point is that you never know how much time is left on someone's clock or how long they're going to be in your life in general. And that's why I felt like it was kind of similar. I know this isn't a tutorial on how to grieve someone's passing, but it does pertain on loss. In this case, it's wanting to intentionally remove someone from your life, which is still a loss. Loss in general sucks. It sucks. And regardless, you want to try to maximize the time that you have with people in your life. The people that I have had to say goodbye to, it doesn't mean that I, look back upon the memories we had with like anger and malice. I still very much enjoyed their presence and valued the friendship that we had back then. I understand the want or desire to have a lot of friends, and some people are more extroverted and prefer to be surrounded by a lot of people. But from my perspective, I do wonder, how well do you know them? And I think that friends and relationships, in my opinion, fit the mold of quality over quantity. That's not to say that there's anything inherently wrong about having a lot of friends. If they're always in a big group, it's tough to get a proper read on someone, albeit unless you decide to take some of your friends out on a date, right? Get to know them one-on-one. So there's these two extremes. Having a lot of people in your life that weren't your friends to begin with, or you have a good amount of friends in your life and you wonder if one or a couple of them are really your friend. And there's this method that people talk about on the internet where they recommend that you don't text someone for a while and see if they reach out. In a world of like abundance of information, we're all pretty overwhelmed and forgetful. At least I am. I've got a couple friends that I forget to reach out to, and then I'll think of them, maybe send them a meme or Snapchat or something like that. But what I'm trying to say is, just because someone isn't reaching out to you all the time doesn't mean that they care about you. They may have stuff in their life that they're trying to deal with, and maybe they're hoping that someone else is reaching out to them and thinking about them. If everyone did that, then none of us would have friends. Sometimes you got to be the bold one and continue to reach out. Some people are just more reserved. I was like that, dude. I don't text a lot of my friends, and didn't back in the day, but it always felt good when my friends would reach out to me and ask me to hang out or something like that, even though I wasn't usually the one reaching out to them. So I was that friend that wasn't reaching out to you. So my bad. I still love you though. Don't mistake drama for happiness. Don't go around looking for fights or reasons to isolate yourself from your friends. If something happens, then you deal with it. You don't have to look for fights with your friends. It's not like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, So I met this one kid my freshman year orientation at high school, and we clicked immediately. He was about the same height as me, and we were both gaming nerds. He didn't have a ride home, and he lived quite far away, and I happened to live 5 minutes away. So I rang my mom and asked if I could bring a friend over. She was thrilled because I made a friend so quick. And we spent all day playing Borderlands 2 and talking about girls until his mom picked him up late that night. It was awesome. Now, this began nearly a decade-long friendship that lasted well through undergrad. Until one day he made a pass at my then girlfriend, which was immensely inappropriate, and I had no choice but to cut ties. The truth was that I had seen red flags like in class and people getting annoyed with him. My other classmates didn't get along with him very well. But I chose to see past it because I felt that I knew something about him that other people didn't know. Like I saw a heart, and I felt like I was, connected to him, and felt like I was one of his few friends in school, and that made me feel I don't know, I like felt purpose knowing that someone could rely on me, if that makes sense. He likely didn't get along with everyone very well because of the way that he carried himself, which was kind of narcissistic and arrogant at times, I must admit. But around me, he was loving, caring, and like would worry about my feelings. He was a really good friend to me for a long time, which made it hurt even more. Because it was that one choice that he made that gave me verification to the traits that I chose to overlook for such a long time. It was just it was the straw that broke the camel's back at that point, because it was pure betrayal on his behalf towards me. There were no other variables at play. It was an obvious choice, but it definitely was not an easy one. So about a week ago, I got a text from my close friend from middle school, breaking the news to me that one of our classmates had passed. It was one of those friends that you just kind of naturally fell out of touch with. He lived in a completely different side of town than me and went to a different college in a different state. It sucked though because I never stopped thinking about the guy. I always hoped that we would cross paths again one day. Despite the reasons that I had for deciding to move on without them in my life, I still valued the time that we shared together and very much appreciate the positive impact that they had on my life. I choose to remember the good bits. Sure, I could sit and maul and think about why they started acting this way, or why we started to fall out of a friendship or something like that. But it is what it is at this point, and I might as well just compartmentalize it and make it easier to say goodbye. I've had a number of people come and go in my life, and a lot of times it's not out of malice at all. There's some people, of course, that I would meet I may rather have spent less time with, and other people I wish I would have spent more time with. That's life. People come and go, and it's all good. That's why you have to really value the time that you have with the people in front of you. You never know when it's going to be... You never know when you're going to see them again. And that's how you learn a lot. You ask questions. I'm getting so off track, but I can't help it. You get smarter by being around people that you value and asking them the right questions and having the right conversations with these people. And I'm always looking for that. If things end up turning sour, it is what it is. Sour Patch Kids. What the fuck? There was really only one other person in my life that I had to cut out. It was for a different reason, though. Our personalities just started to clash. It kind of felt like walking on eggshells around each other. It's like I would look for something to bicker about back and forth. It kind of did feel... We were like an old married couple almost. We just began to resent each other. So that was interesting. Just because someone leaves your life, that doesn't mean that they didn't serve a purpose. Not to say that people are pieces of equipment that can be used and then discarded, but there's sometimes that there's not much you can do